Hello YouTube. I want to talk about going no contact with your parents. It's great. No more nagging, no more controlling, no more gaslighting. Every survivor who had gone no contact with a toxic parent has seen the quality of their mental health skyrocket. It's like you've been living in a fog for so long, and the moment you go no contact, it's like you see everything clearly for the first time. If you've ever wanted to go no contact, don't hesitate. It's the right decision. You don't deserve shitty parents, so cut them off like a tumor and put them in a jar. So don't delay, go no contact today. Okay, let's tone it down a bit. Let's not push too hard without explaining a few things. Let's start out with toxic parents. In many ways, society doesn't like calling out toxic parents and even work to cover for their bad behavior. I believe everyone who has tried to share their bad experience with their parents have been told that they are doing their best and you should try to understand and be patient with them. This makes a lot of people feel unheard because to them it's like saying the harm caused to them is just something that they have to get over. Being able to talk about parental behaviors openly is only a recent breakthrough, and it's still an uphill battle to make any sort of progress on the matter. In fact, studies show that even though we're more aware of the ways certain parental behaviors harm children's mental health, the number of people going no contact is still increasing. And it's not that these people do this on a whim. Most people have done their best to fix things with their parents, but to no avail. That's why some people have decided to go no contact because it's taking a toll on their mental and emotional well-being. And for the most part, a lot of people say their lives are better because of this decision. Here, let's read some testimonies.
Single smartest thing I ever did in my life. A miracle, actually. They made sure I was confused about pretty much everything, but somehow I put enough clues together to make that decision.
My life has gotten better. I was able to get married and have my son, get to a healthier place overall, started a business. Sometimes I feel like I'm barely holding on, but I'm doing it.
I don't regret it at all. Easily one of the best decisions I have ever made. Holiday time sucks extra for anyone dealing with estrangement, but I would choose it a million times over than the alternative.
It's been nearly 6 months and honestly, it feels amazing. I always felt obliged to talk to my mom and it just felt forced and fake because I was only doing it because she's my mom. When I became a mom I made the realization that how I was treated by her isn't how a child should be treated. I want to protect my baby and I also need to reparent my inner child. I can't do that with her toxicity in my life. I didn't go and see. She decided to stop talking to me after I called her out on lying. So she did me a massive favor.
As you can see, going no contact has been such a net positive for so many people that it's hard to argue with the results. But this is for the children's side of the story. What about for the parents? Oh, who cares? They were bad parents and they don't deserve to have their side put into consideration. They will never change and they will just use any opportunity they can to wrestle back control. That's the point of going no contact in the first place. So that survivors can stop thinking about their toxic parents and finally start healing. Okay, yes, you have a point. It's not a child's job to point out a parent's toxic behavior. In fact, we know that they would either deflect any criticism or could even react violently. So it's not exactly a situation you want to be in. But that doesn't mean we just exclude them from the conversation. Parents are still people and people grow and change. Okay, Mr. Optimistic, where do we even start? Well, I'm glad you asked. I would say that a good starting point is to show parents why their kids choose to go no contact and how their reactions could make things worse. Patrick Tian has a video explaining the different ways parents react to no contact with their children. It's a very informative video and I do suggest watching it on his channel. The link will be in the description. Let's take a look at some of the things he has to say.
Number one is it's often the hardest thing a childhood trauma survivor will do and shouldn't really be taken lightly by anybody. Number two is things need to be pretty bad in one's family or a relationship with a parent to go no contact. It's a myth that no contact is done on a whim or comes out of nowhere. Low or no contact is a decades-long process, like I mentioned. I've never had someone go no contact just for poops and giggles. Any parent is going to have really big feelings about this unless they are really shut down and already pretty estranged. Allow their reaction, but you don't have to engage in it. And lastly, there's often a paradox to this stuff of the parent often being highly removed from their responsibility of being a parent. An emotionally connected parent. So often their sense of both history and healthy parenting is greatly impaired. And here lies the problem of trying to get someone who is abusive, dysfunctional, or even toxic to understand that they are.
I would like to emphasize his last point. The first thing a toxic parent needs to understand is that they are being toxic, and it needs to start there before any reconciliation could be possible. But don't forget about what he said about no contact being a last resort. Some people could spend a decade trying to fix the relationship only to realize there's no hope. So it's still a valid reason to go no contact. It's about giving up on something that will only continue to bring you harm. And that's what a lot of toxic parents don't understand. So let's help them understand. Sure, it might be too late for some relationships, but there are others out there who will still have contact with their kids. There's still time for them to realize how they might be harming their children's mental health and change their approach to parenting. That's a nice sentiment, but we know that toxic parents will do anything to escape accountability. Not to mention that parents often don't look at their kids as individuals and just as an extension of themselves. The power imbalance is too big, so they aren't likely to listen to their own kids. And of course, the fact that some parents seem to have this idea that they can raise their kids however they want doesn't help either. That doesn't mean there isn't any hope though. We've certainly started seeing a shift in the right direction. People have gone no contact and started families of their own, are actively rejecting the parenting styles of the older generation and are building good relationship with their kids. So going no contact does work, and we shouldn't be afraid to normalize it. Society has been gaslighting people into thinking that by going no contact, you're a bad child and a bad person, when all you're actually doing is protecting yourself from getting hurt. Why should we care about abusive parents if they clearly don't care about how their child feels? Because not every parent is aware of the ways they cause harm to their kids. Parenting doesn't come with a manual, and there's not exactly a one-size-fits-all solution to raising a kid. Also, let's not forget that some parents didn't have access to things like mental health education and therapy. Some of them were probably abused as a kid and just weren't aware of it. And they end up doing what their parents did because that was the only role model they had. So educating them just like how we educated the younger generation about mental health should be on the table. Yes, parents can be absurdly stubborn when it comes to their kids, but that doesn't mean they want to be estranged in the long run. And we can start by having a conversation about it. I'm sure the children are ready for that, at least the ones who haven't given up yet. You make it sound so simple. But what the heck? It's not like we got anything better to do. If you're someone who has gone no contact with their parents, or if you're a parent who has a child that has gone no contact with you, or even if you're just thinking about going no contact, leave your thoughts in the comments and let's have a discussion. Thanks for watching.